Hey guys, look, we're at NAMM 24. I've been looking forward to doing this stand for weeks. This is Rod, we're on the Magnatone stand. And, I mean, obviously, probably the biggest news of 2023 was this announcement. So, you know, Slash deciding to do an amp collaboration with another brand that, you know, not Marshall. But even before then, Pete and I have been playing some of the Magnatone amplifiers over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's just
mind blown. Can you tell us, I know you've been with the company about 5 years, what's the kind of heritage of Magnatone going way back? Because they're one of those brands that I know they were around in those sort of halcyon old days, but I'm not sure they ever reached the sort of status of something like a Vox or a Fender or whatever. You know?
Right, yeah, definitely not. I mean, they came in 1936 into LA, and they were making radios, coin-operated radios, record players. But the high fidelity part of it is what started building amplifiers. They had an idea that they could build a stereo amplifiers, and that's why we went back to doing the stereo Twilighter.
I had no idea. So some of those are actual, you know, almost 100-year-old or 80-year-old kind of amp designs.
Yeah, that and the vibrato was the other piece that they invented the vibrato by, you know, using a silicon varistor, which is what we still use. There's only like 2 factories in the world that mine these things and make them, and they have to be matched like a tube. That's really the mojo behind, you know, the traditional series, that we have that vibrato system and just the clarity that comes with it. You know?
I mean, I had no idea, because you don't really associate stereo guitar effects with the 1950s.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But so they were obviously like
that's insane.
A long way ahead.
Yeah, they started, and then what happened was they had got bought and sold 3 or 4 times, and each time they did that, the new owners had a new idea of what we, like now, you know, they had a new idea of where things ought to go, and the quality went up and it went down, and it was more focused on different things, and they had a guitar line as well. So at the guitar, the whole business actually kind of folded in the 70s. It just went out, and it was 13 years ago that Ted bought the name and all the rights to it and went to bringing it all back. You know?
Brilliant. Look, it'd be cool to say hi to Ted, but let's talk about this, and I guess it must presumably started with the M80 and the sort of Billy Gibbons kind of thing.
Right.
And so, what's the sort of evolution of the M80 into the Slash model?
Well, I mean, Slash had started buying amps from us about 3 years ago, and he tried several different models. He bought Super 15, I built him a Super 59 M80 in like red snakeskin, and he made the new blues record that's coming out just using that amp, which you'll hear soon. That's going to launch in March, actually.
Wow.
So that's got, so he uses that throughout that album. He also bought 3 of the Super 59 M80s, and those ended up being on the Guns tour, and he was trying them out and working through what he liked and what he didn't like. When we finally started talking, Richie Fortis, of course, is from St. Louis, knows our engineer very well. He brought Slash to the shop, and we really started talking about what he wanted to do. And what he wanted to do was take everything he liked about what we had and just make a few changes. Yeah. So it started with the platform of the M80, but much bigger transformer made by Habor, with a lot more wraps and a lot more heavy steel being used, because he plays, I mean, so much of his tone is coming from the power amp section and not the preamp section. So this amp really shines out of 3rd gear. You know, like it's not meant to be played quietly at all. It has to be able to take what he puts through it on 8. And so a transformer like that keeps it tight, it keeps the articulation and the picking, which is what he really, really was going after, and a warmer tone than what he had.
Yeah.
So
I saw
really
him
a field player, isn't he?
I saw him at Hyde Park last summer, and I hadn't really, because you don't see any amps on stage.
Yeah, everything's up.
And the tone was magnificent, and Richard, in one of the posts I made about the tone, said, you basically, what you're hearing is all the Magnatone stuff under the stage. So anyway, 100 watts?
100 watts, 4 EL34s, 4 12 AX7s, nothing that you wouldn't expect to be in there. It really was, like I said, making sure that power section was where all the tone is coming from, not from the front end of it. We probably did 7 or 8 different iterations with him, and the very first visit, had it wide open with our guy with it soldering in there, as he was listening to it. And we just kept going back and forth until we got exactly what he wanted.
We'll have a little listen to this in a minute. Now, obviously, this is for Slash super fans and people who've got a garage that can turn the thing up.
This one's only 100 pieces.
Yeah.
And
is it? I didn't realize.
And they're all numbered. Everyone will be numbered, and then it comes with a certificate that's hand signed by him. And
so I've got serial number 2 of the AFD 100 Limited.
Okay.
So as soon as we get, that's the first video.
Number 2.
You might need to get number 2.
Yeah. But that's the first video. It's like that versus this. I can't wait to hear this thing.
I think the world needs to hear that.
It looks
because there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions.
For sure.
And
I think
we could do a video, we could shoot out with, I don't know, but is that
it's more just like, how is it different? I get the impression that AFD 100's probably got more preamp gain in it.
Yep.
And it's a different, and again, it's a different period. It's
very bright.
It was about that Appetite for Destruction era tone.
Yeah.
This is about the tone for now.
Yeah.
So, and I tell you, the world can coexist with Slash using 2 amp brands.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
It's not gonna.
It doesn't have to be a
World War III.
Anyway, what we have got for people either living in smaller apartments or shopping with more modest budgets.
This looks amazing.
This looks incredible. So tell us about this.
So Billy Gibbons, also a good friend of the brand, very good friend of the owner. He's been using M80s, and they're stock. He doesn't ask for anything different. He plays exactly what everybody else plays. And he said, there's one thing you can do. You can make a smaller one. Make it smaller, but it's got to sound just as good. It's got to sound just as cool. Don't take any of the mojo out of it. So we went to work again with our engineer, and what he ended up doing was he makes an amp called a pack amp, and he uses these. They're new old stock 6005s or 6AQ5s. GE USA made tubes, and they're like the size of a preamp tube, but they sound amazing, and the consistency is unbelievable. So we've got thousands of them, and we found that our shops all made sure that all the shops could be had, and we set about building that with that sound, and it really, really is work. We do it as a combo with the 110. It's 12 watts, or you can do it with the extensions.
This looks so cool.
It's a great name. So in case you want to find out about this, it's the Baby M80. I think, have these started shipping already, or are they?
They're shipping this week. We're actually they're in full production, building them right now at the shop in St. Louis.
So we're gonna get one in the studio and do a video on it.
100%.
I want to hear this. I want to hear it with no noise in the. You know what I mean? It's because these amps it sounds so good. Do you remember the M80 video we did?
Yep.
And it's just an experience.
Yep.
Playing these amps, it hits me right there, and also down here
in all the right
together.
spots.
It's all the right spots, and it's magnificent tone.
We'll give this a little listen, Rod.
Yeah.
It's lovely to see you.
Pleasure, man.
Thank you very much.
And well done on this. It's just it's always great, I think, in the music industry to have big breaking stories like this. We need it. So anyway, let's give it a try. As you can probably tell from how I'm dressed, we've come back the following day to try and film this. So we've dived into the show early. It's about 9 a.m. So that it was just too many people on the stand really yesterday. Anyway, here we go. So this is what's called the low gain setting, and I've got the master so low here. I'll probably take that up a little bit actually. But I guess that is probably not what this is all about. So this is flipping over to the high gain channel now, still with the master and everything at the same kind of level, but we're up at what, 7 or 8 on the gain here. I don't know how Slash would set his up, but it's not a high preamp gain sound. It's just roaring. I'm fairly sure, didn't Ted say Slash uses this with the master volume at like 6 or 7? I mean, it's just... Thank God. Bridge pickup. I mean, it's just, the word here is it's intimidating. It is intimidating to sit in front of this amplifier and this 4x12, knowing, of course, that it's designed one of the biggest rock legends on the planet, and also realizing that it's so flipping loud that everyone in Anaheim can probably hear what I'm playing. So double intimidating. But I don't even know what to play. My one slash lick. I mean, it's exactly what you would expect a vintage Marshall inspired, you know, and actually, to be fair, it does sound a bit like when we played the Billy Gibbons M80, but just going to 11. Like, it's just, if you're a great guitar player like Slash or Billy is or something like that, this is the amp that you want to let your technique and your tone kind of come through loud and aggressive. But I mean, as enough of that for 9 o'clock in the morning. Let's try the baby one. This is the baby M80. I mean, it looks cute. Ted from Magnatone and Rod yesterday obviously was explaining some of the tubes they've used for this. So some new old stock tubes in the power section, probably not tubes that you'd conventionally see in some of the bigger Magnatone amplifiers, but giving 12 watts. Looks amazing. Very, very simple to use. We've got a high-low gain switch you can see on the right here. A little bit of EQ, gain and volume. Effects loop as well, which is kind of cool. We're running this into the 110 cabs underneath it. We're just micing the top one. I think we're hearing both in the room, right, or in the hall, but we're only micing the top one. Sounds mega. And then little baby combo, exactly the same amp on the floor, but. That is not that loud and sounds immense. But this is an amp for normal people. You know, this is like, you could play this at home or at a little gig or a rehearsal or something like that. And whereas I said the Slash sounds intimidating, this doesn't. This feels much more forgiving. Was that the low or was that the high?
That was the low.
That was low. Okay, let's go high. Probably want a bit more volume here then. Much easier to get that gainy, saturated sound at this kind of volume. I'm sure it can be done through the bigger Slash amplifier, but just at lunatic volume. Dang, it's a good amp. I mean, I'd have a little bit of reverb through the effects loop. I don't even really think it needs a pedal in the front, does it? It just sounds fat, getting nodding approval. Are these listed on our site yet? Not yet. Will be soon, so yeah, check them out. I mean, again, Magnatone is for the man or lady with a slightly larger wallet than most, but that's the whole point, right? This is where you treat yourself, right? I love it. I want one. That is a man cave amplifier if ever I saw one. Right, anyway, see you later, guys. Bye-bye.